Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that great big subscribe button and don't forget to click that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. If you didn't know who I am Sandra Burmy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, A Celebration of Asexual Diversity book. I'm also the founder of Asexualise.com, the founder of Asexualise Academy, and I published this book last year, Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, How to Manage Fibromyalgia to have less pain, more energy and feel happier like a superhero rock star. So in tonight's episode, I want to say a very massive gigantic, huge colossus. Thank you for over 700 subscribers. I am so happy. I'm really happy because this means I'm raising more awareness of asexuality. I have more people than ever in my asexual community. I've noticed there's a lot more people watching me lately, a lot more people coming in chat. And I really do love and appreciate all of you being part of my community here. I really do, from the bottom of my heart, really care about the fact that you take time out of your day, your life, to spend time watching the videos I produce, coming in and taking part in a chat. I know some of you just watch from afar, you're a little bit nervous, or in secret you watch me. So I appreciate all of you and wish you a very lot of love. And everyone who contributes to this channel is amazing. You know, I could not do this channel without you. It is a chat show, so I kind of need people to interact and talk with me. So it's really lovely to have you here. And I just want to, you know, hope and keep spreading awareness of asexuality. You know, please, if you've got friends who are asexual, tell them about this channel. If you've got anyone who just wants to know more about asexuality, even if they're not asexual themselves, please, you know, pop them onto my channel. I really do appreciate anyone who's open-minded, who wants to learn more about asexuality, coming and being part of my community here. And you might have noticed with my channel, I actually cover the whole asexuality spectrum. So I cover topics that are anywhere from those asexuals that are completely sex repulsed, dislike sex, find the whole thing disgusting and want to throw up, to those asexuals on the more sexual end of the spectrum that actually, you know, don't maybe mind having sex some of the time, maybe even in relationships with sexuals and having sex. So I cover a diverse range of asexuals, not just one specific type, which, you know, adds to the flavor of the show. But I mean, you know, after all, that is what it's about. We are a diverse community. You know, no asexual is exactly the same. There's so many nuances to asexuality, so many nuances to being asexual, that we've all kind of got our own differentiation. I think that's really important. I think we've got a lot more differentiation than traditional sexuals have. And I think that's something to be very proud of. You know, the fact that we are 1%, well, we're recorded 1% of the population. I think there's a bit more than that. I think there's probably 2 or 3%, I personally think, because I think there's a lot of asexuals that don't realize they're asexual. They're still not out about being asexual, you know. So the more we have awareness spread about asexuality, the better. So more people can join our community and feel connected and understood and not lonely anymore. It's really important to be around like-minded people who really get you, who really love being asexual, or who really just understand you. I love being asexual. I absolutely love being asexual. It's the best thing in the world, because I've always been asexual and not realized it from a young age. And obviously I'm still young now, but from being small, you know. And it's just very beautiful. And like I said, our differentiation makes it all that more beautiful, because we're 1% of the population, recorded 1%, and then we've got all our nuances and kind of like minorities within that. And that's kind of like something to be proud of, that we're not robots, we're not following the crowd, we're not being like everyone else. We're actually being different and appreciating and respecting and loving ourselves for who we are. It's very, very, very important that we do that. And my personal mission where Asexuality is concerned, in case you didn't know, because I have been doing this channel for 4.5 years now, 5 years this October, my personal mission is to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right throughout the globe, so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. Now, there's a lot of work to be done in this, right? There's a lot of people now within the LGBT community that have heard of asexuality. I'm not saying that they all are nice to us in the LGBT community, but there are lots of LGBT people that understand asexuality to a certain extent. Some maybe don't at all, but they know of asexuality, right? But my personal mission, what I was given from the universe, the powers that be, God, whatever you believe in, or if you don't believe in God at all, just know it's my personal intuitive mission, is to get it recognised on a global scale in its own right. That means asexuality standing loud and proud on its own. Because this is the only way I personally see we can literally help change the world where asexuality is concerned. I honestly believe, personally myself, that sexuals are the ones that really, all sexuals, including heterosexuals, because they make up a lot of the population, they really, really need to wake up to asexuality. Those are the people that need to hear it. I'm glad that people are doing a lot of activism work within the LGBT community. I'm glad of any activism work, any people that are helping asexuality to raise awareness, to grow our communities, is doing a fantastic job. And I don't want to, stop that or tread on anyone else's toes. I don't want that to stop. I want that to continue to flourish. But my personal mission, while I was on this planet Earth, why I am on this planet Earth, is to literally get it recognised in its own right globally, which means I need to get through to the sexual market. I need to get through to heterosexuals, which I think is a much kind of deeper and harder task overall, because they are the majority. So in order to make a difference, though, we have to get through to the majority. We have to, because that's the only way we're going to flip the script. In other words, it's the only way people as a society are actually going to accept asexuality. That means I need to do more work. That means I need to do a lot more work with sexuals, That means probably collaborating more with sexuals that are open-minded, that accept asexuality, that try to understand us. That means as well, like I've told you about a brand that I'm going to be bringing out called Rogenicity that scares the life out of me in some ways, because it means me helping sexuals, but I have to get asexuality in their face. The only way I could do that is by speaking their language, because I've been in heterosexual relationships for over half my life. I may as well put that experience to really, really good use, right? If I can get through to as many sexuals as possible, I'm in sexual dating groups on Facebook, right? I'm not just there for me to find someone, because to be honest, it's going to be highly unlikely that I'm going to find an asexual that's specifically suitable for me in those groups. However, I do believe there are asexuals in these sexual dating groups. I found 2 so far, right? And the more groups I join and post about my asexuality, the more it will encourage other people to come out in those groups or to find out about asexuality, right? And the more it will make sexuals aware that there is a genuine sexual orientation called asexuality. Of course, I get laughed at, I get mocked, I get horrible insults thrown at me a lot of the time in those groups, but I'm strong enough to be able to just not be that bothered by it. Yes, I know, like I do videos about it because I don't think it's particularly nice what people say, but at the end of the day, my main mission is to get through to sexuals, and I'll do whatever it takes in the most respectful way to myself, but also whatever it takes in the way that, sexuals can understand it. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. So my personal mission is to get it recognized in its own right, because I need sexuals to understand us. If sexuals just hear about asexuals being part of LGBT, they will literally think, oh, that's another lesbian, that's another gay, which is what I get accused of being, a lesbian. Like, because I say to a sexual person, I'm asexual, and they're like, oh, so you're a lesbian. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm only attracted to guys. So it very much confuses the understanding of asexuality, So my personal mission is to get it recognized in its own right. I think I'm a really strong candidate for doing that, because I have been in heterosexual relationships for half my life. Thank you for the thumbs up. I think everything happens for a reason. I think sometimes in your life you do go through things that aren't particularly pleasant, that aren't particularly great, that you wish you weren't experiencing at the time. But I think everything that happens in your life is geared towards your future mission that you don't yet realize. And I didn't realize that I was going to be helping asexuals until 2015. I started, but I had no idea years ago that I was even asexual. Do you know what I mean? So it's strange how life just kind of like works its way out, it works out in a good way, and it's incredible. I've made such amazing friends within the asexual community, my bestest friends I could have ever wished for. I do still have a best friend female, who's not asexual, and I still love her dearly as well, even though she's not asexual. She's still very much a huge part of my heart. I've known her for longer than I've known asexual. So just because she's not asexual doesn't mean to say I don't love her as my friend. I care about her and love her as my friend. My asexual friends, though, they do tend to keep in touch with me a lot more. And I've got the most incredible, supportive, best asexual friends, and I've got also like a more outer kind of set of asexual friends as well. I'm not so close to, but are still really awesome people, and it's just amazing. So I really do plan on doing more to get asexuality recognized globally in its own right. And I honestly believe that Asexual Guide to Sex is going to actually help with that as well. That book is like the missing puzzle piece that even one of my asexuals that have been interviewed for books said they really believe the book's the missing puzzle piece. And I think they were thinking of it kind of like from a more asexual angle, but it's a missing puzzle piece for sexuals, because a lot of them don't even know about asexuality. They need to be awakened to it. They need to know the stark reality of the truth of life. There's loads of things that go on behind closed doors that people don't realize. And I think with the situation with the world at the moment, a lot more people are actually recognizing there's a lot more things that go on behind closed doors. So I think we have kind of more of a power in this day and age to be able to say, hey, there's things that go on in the world, but did you know about asexuality? People want you to not know about asexuality, because just think of all the industries that sell loads of sex stuff. It's a booming market. Just imagine that if more and more people decided they didn't like, want, or need sex, just imagine sexual, we still need sexual health clinics, but just imagine all the sexual stuff that's sold. Just imagine all the pumping of Viagra pills to make someone, like have sex, and some of those people that they shove those pills towards are people that are actually asexual. How do I know this? Because I've got friends who and people that I know who are asexual that say that, Viagra never worked for them. They've tried it. And, it's just a shame that people think that if you're not having sex, it's a sexual dysfunction. If obviously some people do have sexual dysfunction. Some people have, like they can't, they're impotent, but they want to have sex still. They still very much love the idea of sex, they experience sexual attraction, which is different to asexuality. But you know, there is a percentage of people that are going to the doctors being told, here, have pills to cure your problem when you haven't got a problem. If more doctors understand asexuality, it'd be great. Unfortunately, a lot of doctors still don't really seem to understand asexuality, or they don't even, you know, like if you tell them, they just look blank at you, or they don't say much. It's like the deadly silence says it all. Do you know what I mean? And so, you know, I think there's still a lot of work to be done. But I think now in the 21st century, when there's kind of a lot of awakening of loads of different things happening in the world right now, I think now is a good time for people to be awakened to the truth about sex, that not everyone wants it, you know, because everyone is programmed and conditioned from a very early age to believe that everyone's meant to be having sex, everyone's meant to like it, you know, and it's always this very, very strict programming in the mind, you know. It's like brainwashing, and it simply isn't true. Yes, of course there's still a lot of people that like sex. I'm not going to deny that. Yes, there's still loads of heterosexuals. Yes, there's still loads of people that love it, adore it, want it, need it, but there's a percentage that don't. And I think more and more people need to be woken up to that, so we can avoid, you know, sexual abuse situations more, you know. If there's more awareness, you know, hopefully it'll make people know that some asexuals, they just don't ever want sex. So if you're trying to get into a relationship with an asexual that doesn't want sex, stop trying to push them and stop trying to think you'll change them, because that just leads to sexual abuse. Asexuals doing stuff they don't really want to do to please their partner, but under duress, you know. There's a difference between an asexual who wants to have sex to please their partner, doesn't mind it, to an asexual who feels like, God, you're just going to leave me and you don't love me if I don't give you this, and kind of feels like they're being blackmailed into it, you know. There's you know, there's two different scenarios going on there. Some asexuals, they don't mind having sex. They're in a relationship that's very loving with the sexual person, and they decide that, you know, maybe I can do sex once a week and it's not that bad, you know. And so, you know, it's different, but there's a very, very big difference, you know, between an asexual that doesn't mind having sex and one that categorically doesn't like it and feels like they're being coerced or pushed, or they're pushing themselves, you know. Like in the past, I pushed myself, like the year before I found out I was asexual, I pushed myself to do sexual stuff with a guy because I couldn't do sex anymore. I just couldn't bring myself to do that anymore. You know, it's a year before I found out I was asexual. You know, I just pushed myself to do stuff that I didn't really want to do. Sexual stuff. Wow, kind of like, you know, like being naked and washing the guy down and stuff like that. It's like, I don't really want to be doing this. I just don't want to look. I just want to get on with it, you know? And you shouldn't be feeling like that. You know, when you're with someone who you care about or like or love or whatever, you should be feeling like happy to be with them, comfortable around them, feeling good about being in their own company, not doing stuff you don't want to do and having pressure put on you and to feel like you're not satisfying them or something. They should be satisfied with who you are. And if not, they shouldn't have got with you in the first place if they know you were asexual, you know. But this is why we need to make much more awareness of asexuality. And we honestly, thank you so much for the thumbs up. We honestly need to get through more to sexuals, you know. I mean, with the Asexual Guide to Sex, I'm really hoping that there'll be a major breakthrough for us as asexuals. I'm really hoping that it will get through to sexuals a lot more, you know, not just help asexuals. I want it to help asexuals, of course I do. You know, it's all asexuals in the book. It's very much geared towards asexuals and how we think and feel and what our physiology is like when, you know, in regards to sex and you know, like keeping ourselves safe and stuff like this, and not doing things that we don't want to do, but this is what you can expect might, you know, happen or people want to do with you if you do get into a relationship with a sexual person, you know. So it's a very informative book, but I'm really hoping that a lot more sexuals will pick the book up and be awakened to the fact that, wow, I really didn't have a clue about this. I really didn't know this existed, but hey, this is just really insightful, really, really helpful, really amazing, you know. I want that to happen. I want more sexuals to be awakened. Maybe some sexuals will even think, gosh, my partner's like that. And it'll help other asexuals in relationships with sexuals already that felt they couldn't really talk to their partner that much about it, or their partners didn't really understand it. You know, I really want to bridge the gap, you know. I'm finishing off some work at the moment, but like next month specifically, I'm going to be working pretty much all month, the majority of July, on the Asexual Guide to Sex book. I can't wait to get back to it. I've just got stuff I need to finish for the Asexual Meetup courses launch that I'm doing soon. I've got 2 Asexual Meetup courses coming out, so I know some asexuals want to buy those, so they've been waiting for them. So I'm getting them out soon. I'm just waiting, still working on the sales pages. I'm doing a video at the moment for that, so it's taking me longer than I thought, but you know, I'm really, really looking forward to helping more asexuals. Oh, hi, Megan. Oh, I can see your picture now. Nice to see you. Oh, I did find you on Twitter. I am following you. Yeah, I'm glad you're showing your face. I'm really, really, really happy to have you here. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to have gone over 700 subscribers. So, yeah, it feels really good. And I've just recently got a guy in comments that's not asexual, but he's very respectful when he's talking about my videos and asexuality. So he's a hyper romantic. He saw my video on hyper romanticism, and he said he's not asexual, he's hypersexual, but also a hyper romantic. So he really understood the hyper romantic part that I have, and he's not monogamous like I am. But he's asked me if I'll be interviewed for his asexual. Well, he's asked me, he's doing a project on sexuality for his masters, I think he said. And he asked me if I'll be interviewed for his project. So and I think that'll be good. You know, I want to work with more sexuals that have open mind towards asexuality and want to learn more, because I want them to help me to spread the word of asexuality. So if I can help them, they can help me. It'll be great, you know. So they've been messaging me about that. So it would be good, you know, to be interviewed for their project. I'd help them out, and you know, if I can help another person who's not asexual understand asexuality better, then that's really, really good, I think. You know, I appreciate when people come on my channel and they're honest. They're like, I'm not asexual, this is me. You know, that's what I like. I don't like people who lie. I like people who tell the truth and who are not rude or malicious or obnoxious, you know. So this guy came on and he was really nice in his manner towards me, even though he's very much the opposite of asexual. But he really related to the hyperromanticism I had, which was nice, you know, because I think there's like hyperromantics, particularly with asexuals, are less. There are some, but there's, you know, there's more of a rare trait, I think, with asexuals, because there tends to be more aromantic asexuals, those that lack romantic attraction as well as sexual attraction. So I think it's really, really important that, you know, if you have someone else that relates to you, that it's nice to just chat, whatever orientation they are, isn't it? So I think it's really nice. But yeah, I hope to really maybe work with some more, like I said, sexuals in the future, so that I can help spread awareness of asexuality more where sexuals are concerned. I think it's really necessary and needed, you know, because although I'm not sexual in terms of sexual orientation myself, I think I need to be able to, you know, work with those people more to get it more well known in that sphere, you know, because after all, that's what we need. We need more awareness for sexuals. Do you know what I mean? Like it's great if we can find more people like us, but it's also by talking and conversing, you know, in multiple ways with sexuals who are open-minded, who are understanding and want to learn about asexuality. It's very, very good for us, because we need to be breaking through those barriers of, you know, misunderstanding, and, you know, people thinking like asexuality means you're a nun or you're abstaining, or you're celibate, or there's something wrong with you, or it's traumatic experience that's made you like you are, or there's something wrong with your hormones, or all the other rubbish people come out with. It's like, no, it's a sexual orientation. I don't have to prove my sexual orientation. You don't have to prove yours. Or do you want to just start proving yours? Like, why are you actually heterosexual? Let's go into it, shall we? Do you know what I mean? Like, why aren't you homosexual or bisexual? Do you know what I mean? There is absolutely no point in trying to make someone else a sexual orientation that they're not. So I think it's really important to be able to find more people that will accept us, including sexuals, and anyone who can help spread awareness in a good way about asexuality who's not asexual will be very, very helpful to us. So obviously I'm aware that we've got to be careful, that our words are, really projected as truth. I mean, I was in the Daily Mirror newspaper years ago, and of course when you get real hardcore journalists, they are going to kind of twist your words a little bit. It kind of goes with the media territory. So when I was in the newspaper, the Daily Mirror and the Daily Mail, when I was in the Daily Mirror, they were like saying, because I call myself an asexual cougar. I don't have any bad connotations about that. There was one person in one of my asexual groups. They're like, oh, it's really horrible. Why are you calling yourself that? It's really degrading. And I'm like, well, I don't find it degrading. I don't find the word cougar degrading. I find the word cougar, in terms of like a traditional cougar, they like sex with younger guys, but I'm an asexual cougar. I just like to distinguish that because I don't get attracted to older guys. And by putting that down, saying that's what I am, it helps deter some of the older guys that would approach me, because I just don't want it. I really need to be with a younger guy in a relationship. That's who I'm attracted to. I'm really, really young. I can't be doing with an older guy. I'm just not aesthetically attracted to them, or romantically attracted to them, So it is the way it is, and I don't have any bad connotations of that. But I was in the newspaper, and of course, with the Daily Mirror not being, being a sexual newspaper, it decided to twist the things I said a little bit. Cougar makes you sound powerful and confident. Oh, thank you, Megan. Yeah, I think that too, actually. That's really nice. I think that too. I'm glad you said that. Powerful and confident. I'm glad you said that. I feel good. I labeled myself that because I wanted to differentiate myself. Because it's kind of hard when you're specifically like guys who are like in their 20s and you're older asexual. It's very, very difficult to get that through to people. So if you say like cougar, like you said, Megan, it's a very powerful word. Kind of stops people in their tracks, and they're like, oh, okay. If I just said like I like younger guys, that's one thing. But if I say cougar specifically, I mean, I used to say, like I used to get some guys going, oh, I don't understand. How can you be asexual if you're cougar? I'm like, I'm an asexual cougar. I do put asexual cougar in front of it. You know what I mean? Asexual in front of the cougar. But I have any bad connotations. But when they interviewed me for the article, they're asking me, like, I told them I get attracted to guys a bit, like with certain clothes that they wear. And one of the looks I liked was in Grease, Danny Zuko out of, the character in Grease, the musical. So I like the fact he had like white t-shirt, jeans on, like nice shoes, like kind of like with leather jacket. I like that look. That's one of the looks I like, right? So they said in the paper that I had to have a guy that looked like Danny Zuko. And I was thinking, actually, I did start talking about Indian guys, but you completely ignored that. So I didn't just talk about the certain clothes I like, but because I did start saying, I said about the clothes, but they revert to the fact I've got to have someone who looked like Danny Zuko out of Grease. But obviously that's to get their hits up, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I was in a paper that said that they didn't say about asexuality, even though I am asexual, and told them about my asexuality. They said that I was that I was into younger guys, and that I dated younger guys in my city. And I'm thinking regularly, and I'm like, well, I haven't dated a younger guy in my city for a long time at this point. It was It's quite funny. But anyone who knew me, they're like, that's really incorrect, because it was basically saying it's basically saying that I'm a sexy person or something, interested in younger guys, and it completely missed asexuality out, which was a shame. So yeah, one of my calls said about, because I said I like a teenager style relationship, not like a teenager in a relationship. And then the paper was naughty, and they put on the HTTP address about liking a teenage, like they made it look like I like teenagers in the HTTP address, and it's like, no. But in the article it clearly said I like 21 years and upwards, you know. It's like teenager style, not actually teen. I'm not interested in, you know, I'm not like that. I like younger guys, but not that young. You know, I'm safe zone. Do you know what I'm saying? 21 upwards, you know. I do have younger guys that like me, like 18 sometimes. I have one asexual guy who was 17 years old, but I'm like, I felt uncomfortable about even talking to him because he was only 17, and I'm like, I stopped speaking to him for a while, because it's like I don't really want to speak to someone like that young, because he liked me romantically. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit too young. I really like 21 and up, because I think it's more adult then. I'm not really into, I'm into young guys, but there's a difference between young guys and, you know, mind you, the guy who was Indian clubbing last time I went, I think he was about 19 going towards 20, so he was younger. But yeah, so, but I mean, he came over to dance for me, and he was the one who asked me to come back to my place in a taxi. I'm like, oh my lord, no. That was him, not me. I actually was like, I was literally having problems at the club because this big guy was in my way, and he was nearly squashing me against the wall. So I was like looking around saying, oh, someone help me. And then this Indian guy came over, got the bigger guy out of the way, then decided to, like, as sexuals would say, hit on me himself. I'm like, what? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like I've just got rid of one guy out of my face. Now I've got another, obviously, with him being Indian. It did help. But he didn't look very Indian, which was, I didn't even know he was until he told me. And I'm like, oh, you know, because he didn't look Indian. He looked quite British. Oof. Exactly, Megan. It's quite funny, but he didn't. I said to him, I said, you don't look very Indian. But I know he told me he's from Delhi, and I know I've been told by Indian women who are my friends on Facebook to watch out for Delhi guys, because they are the most sexual guys from that area. So they're like, be warned. And when I said to him, you know, I don't like sex, he's like, I don't either. I'm like, clearly you do, when you're asking to come back in a taxi and share a bed with me when I've only danced with you for 5 minutes at the end, mate. 5 minutes, do you know what I mean? Oh my giddy aunt. So, you know what I mean? That's just like crazy. But yeah, I thought I got rid of what, I mean, the big guy, you know, like I was dancing, and I think he didn't, you know, like some guys, they don't like the fact that I do crazy dancing. Other guys love it. And I get a lot of attention because I do crazy dancing, and I love it. You know, I love dancing for me, and I love doing the type of dancing I love because it feels great. But this guy, he was good some of the time, and then this big guy, and then other times he was kind of like taking the mickey. But then at one point he was having a photograph with me and this other guy to take for this guy's. This guy was very camp. I think he was gay actually, but I'm not sure if he's gay or bisexual. And he took a photograph of me and the big guy, and he had his arm around both of us or something. You know, that's what young people do in clubs. So I was just, you know, I didn't mind that. But then later on he started getting a bit funny, going like this, and trying to take the mickey or be horrible to me, and I just tried to ignore him. But it gets very squished in the club. You're literally like, you're right squished next to each other, like pretty much touching certain places, you know. It's only because I'm not, you know, like I'm quite like I'm an extrovert asexual, and I, you know, like I'm okay with some contact. I don't, you know, like so long as, you know, like minimal. But I mean, obviously when you're in a club it gets really, really, really hectic and packed in there. You are like sardines. You are touching like people's arms and stuff, and sometimes you end up with parts in your in your legs. So, you know, like you end up with a body near you or touching you sometimes. You just got to be careful where it's touching you. So but yeah, so he was pretty much in my face here, and then the younger guy, you know, like kind of saved me and then decided to take over himself. I'm like, in a more sexual manner, and I'm like, oh, this is not really you're helpful, but you obviously helpful for your own means, not really to help me as such. So it's very interesting, but it's really strange because when I went, because he works in Nando's where me and my best friend Sam go, and when we were last in there, Sam came down just before the lockdown. It was actually like the week before, I think it was, and that's the last time we saw each other in person rather than on Skype. And you know, the guy was working at the restaurant like where we go to, and he just wouldn't, you know, like you're supposed to, the waiter's supposed to come and clear the plates. Like I knew he knew who I was, and he didn't say anything about knowing me. And then, you know, like when he was taking my plate, he was like really reluctant, like he didn't come over for ages when we'd finished eating, and then he's like taking it like this, really like slowly and reluctantly. And it's like, what's the matter with you, mate? Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, he could have talked to me if he wanted to, but he didn't. He just decided not to say anything to me. Maybe he was feeling embarrassed at the fact that he asked me to go. Well, he asked if he could come home with me. Or maybe he thought Sam was not just a friend, you know, because other people don't know, do they? So I just thought it was kind of crazy. Sam thought it's because they, you know, this guy wanted to say me to say something to him first, and I thought, I'm not going to do that. Do you know what I mean? He was the one who asked me to. He was the one who came up to me and started dancing with me and asked me, like, basically to come back to mine. I'm like, honestly, what would I have done? Gone to sleep? Oh man, the only thing I like doing is kissing, but I don't want to kiss someone I don't know in my actual home. So I mean, there's a difference between kissing in a club where there's security guards around you and you can just escape in a taxi, to actually being in your own home. Oh my lord, no thanks. So but it was really strange because I was actually more aesthetically attracted to him in the restaurant than I was in the club. I kept thinking about kissing him in the restaurant. I think it's because I declined kissing him in the club. He actually wanted to kiss me right on the lips, and I let him kiss me on my cheek, but that was it. I kept turning my cheek. And I think sometimes, like, it's the kind of like chemical reaction thing, isn't it? In kind of human psychology or human physiology, that when you get someone who takes something away from you, or you deny yourself something that you really would have kind of liked to have tried, you kind of think about it later more like, oh, what would it have actually been like if I had let him kiss me on the lips? Would I have actually liked it or not? You know? And I think that's what I was thinking. Like when I went to Nando's, I was thinking, oh, I wouldn't have minded actually kissing you, but I didn't let you on my lips. But I wouldn't have minded seeing how I felt, because he was, like I said, I think he was 19, nearly 20. I've never kissed that age before. I've only kissed 21 and upwards. And the guy I kissed, who I thought was 21, well, the guy who is 21, I thought he was 23, because I used to always say I wouldn't date anyone that was younger than 23. That's what I used to say before I kissed this guy a few years ago now, who was actually 21. I found out on his Facebook he was 21, not 23. He looked 23. So that's how I knew I liked younger guys than I thought. So, you know, I think it's important to be your asexual self, you know. Like I said, there's so many different types of asexuals. I feel that I'm very nuanced in my own asexuality. I feel like sometimes it drives me a bit crazy myself, because it's kind of like contradictory a little bit, I feel. But I think I've got to just accept myself more for who I am. You know, I'm obviously born this way to help raise more awareness of asexuality, because if I've got like some sexual behavior with the way I like to kiss, and I don't mind kissing sexuals if it's in the club, then, you know, it's kind of like I'm more comfortable around sexuals than kind of some asexuals would be. and that means I'm going to be able to talk to them more and get through to them more about asexuality. So I suppose everything happens for a reason, but I find it kind of strange that I have sexual behavior with kissing, yet I don't experience any sexual attraction. It just seems to me very strange thing, you know. And I kind of guess this year particularly, I just need to keep accepting myself more and more for the nuances that I have, rather than keep thinking it's strange. But I just find it weird. I'm like, how can you not experience any sexual attraction, yet you have this really kind of very sexual behavior, the way you like to kiss? And you know, you like to kiss more than some sexual guys do, and the behavior you have when kissing is sometimes more sexual than I think some sexuals have. And kind of like, it's really, really bizarre, you know. But I think that's the thing in your asexual journey. I think you really have to just kind of accept who you are. And I think it takes some time, you know, as you get to know more about yourself, as you get to know more about, you know, like your own nuances of your own asexuality, you know. Like there may be certain instances when you're attracted to certain types of people, and then other times you're not attracted to those types of people at all, you know, because asexuality can vary, you know, and you can get periods of time where you just kind of like, or something happens and you have this person, they kind of like take you by surprise. And you're like, oh, I didn't think I'd like this type of person. It's like I said, like years ago when I kissed a guy I thought was 23, it's actually 21. I had no idea I liked that age group at that time, because I never thought of entertaining the idea. Oh, I might have to go soon. I think my voice is going because I've been recording live video today as well. So I'll probably have to save my voice a bit. But yeah, anyway, I think I'll end the video so I can give my voice a rest. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. And thanks once again for over 700 subscribers. Like I said, to wrap up, I think it's very important that you do try to accept yourself, who you are in your asexuality. It might take a while for you to fully get used to all the different nuances you have within yourself. I think it's very, very important to like practice self-love, self-acceptance, and to explore more of those kind of like weird nuances and differences. You know, it's a bit scary sometimes, you know, it's a bit scary exploring things that's kind of maybe contradictory within yourself sometimes. It can be like, you know, amazing and exciting in one way, but it can be a bit scary. It's like, I don't understand. Like my life is usually very, very black and white. It's like, this is this, that's that. But with asexuality, it's completely different. It's like I've got grey areas. I'm definitely not sexually attracted to anyone, so I'm not textbook grey A, but I have grey areas, and it's kind of like really weird for me. It takes a long time for me to get used to that, because it's not how I think. I think in black and white. Either something is or it isn't. And obviously asexuality is not like that, is it? As we all know, you know? And so it goes against my personal ideology that I've got into a habit of thinking for years, you know, because everything's a habit. You learn everything in your life habitually. And so you have to change your habits and way of thinking. And I think, you know, it's kind of difficult if you're kind of battling with your own contradictions within yourself, because I find myself, I don't like contradictions. I don't like it. I think there's something destabilizing about contradictions. Usually there's kind of like a dishonesty sometimes, but I have to understand that I am really an honest person, like I know I am. And although it seems contradictory to me, some actual other people have said, no, actually, it's just perfectly normal for being asexual. So even I, you know, like I help other asexuals sometimes, but sometimes it's nice for some asexuals to just say, hey, that's normal for asexuality, which it is really, you know. I mean, sexual behavior is not the same as sexual attraction. It is different, but a lot of the time it can be the same or similar. A lot of the time it's put together. So, but I just find it strange that a person who experiences no sexual attraction can have such sexual behavior and kissing and even dancing. It kind of like boggles me. To me, it's not very logical. And I do have a logical mind as well as a creative and heart-centered mind. And it's kind of like, where's the logic in that? Doesn't compute. I feel like my memory banks is like, or memory tapes just stopped. Do you know what I mean? But I have to accept myself for who I am, you know? I have to grow into my own asexuality more. and become more powerful and more confident, as Megan puts it. I think it's very, very important, you know. So I think, you know, we all have to like learn more and more about asexuality as we go along. You know, I remember I did some coaching with a demisexual girl, and you know, at the end of the coaching, she was like, "Oh, well, I found out this," and I think she thought that maybe I wasn't as helpful as I could be in some ways, but I was helpful in the sense that I was like her in some ways, that really helpful. But you know, she turned around and said, "I'm not exactly how you said I was." But coaching or any type of advice is just like, it's in context of the time and the conversation, the brief conversation that you have with that person. You know, coaching should be an ongoing thing anyway, not just one time. This is one time. And you know, asexuality is a journey of discovery. You know, no one has the right to tell you what you are or not, but when you first come to asexuality, you try to find yourself. So she didn't know she was demisexual when she was talking to me in the coaching session. She found that out afterwards, and then she started talking and saying, "Actually, I'm this." And I'm like, it's really good you found that out, but when you talk to a coach, they're not there to tell you what to do. They're trying to help you find out who you are by, you know, saying, you know, their knowledge, or by encouraging you to develop your own awareness. Usually it depends. Like I do coaching and mentoring mixture together. I don't just do plain coaching. So plain coaching is just literally when the person finds out all the answers on themselves without any advice whatsoever, usually. But I like to give, you know, like most people come to me for advice. You know, a lot of advice I do give for free, but I do some coaching occasionally, sometimes too, as well. You know, I coach a lot on this channel, as you know, but I do that for free because I'm always giving like advice out and helping and guiding and stuff like that. So you know, but asexuality is a journey. You know, no one can tell you what you are or aren't. But when I was first you know, discovering more about asexuality, I did want someone to tell me like, what type of asexual am I? And that's something I get quite a lot in private message. Not so much lately, but it's usually something I got all the time in the past. Like, "Hi, I'm new to asexuality. Please, can you tell me what type of asexual I am?" You know, and obviously I still get that in some comments on YouTube. But when I say what type of asexual I think they are based on the little information they give me, that's all it is, based on the little information they give me. But you know, like, asexuality is so nuanced and it's such a long journey that you can't possibly, if you're not sure yourself where you fall on the asexual spectrum, you know, you can have someone guide you and help you, but they can't make the decision for you. You still got to decide. And it may be that through time of your asexual journey and understanding asexuality better, that you discover you're a different type of asexual, or a different type of person to what you thought you were. And so, you know, I don't mind and helping people, but you still got to make your own choices, own decisions, you know. And it's important to know that you've got the freedom to do that. That just because, you know, people advise you, whether it's me or someone else, it's still up to you to make your own decisions in life, and up to yourself to decide where you fall on the asexuality spectrum. You know, it's a privilege and honor to do that for yourself, you know, but it might take you a while. I know some asexuals that have changed. They've changed who they're attracted to since I've talked to them. You know, I knew a guy who was biromantic. They're definitely homoromantic now. I know a guy who was panromantic, leaning more towards women. He now leans more towards guys, and wants a guy for a relationship. You know, and I've known other people, other asexuals, you know, that kind of change in who they're majorly attracted to, who they want to be in a relationship with. So it's a huge journey, you know. And some of these asexuals have known they're asexual for a few years, but they're still learning about themselves, you know. So I don't think it's any good, like, just completely not looking at the other areas of asexuality. I think it's good to be able to define yourself with what you're happy with in the moment and for that time. And then if you find something else fits you better, then, you know, use that. It's very important that you're happy with how you identify, which goes back to why I call myself an asexual cougar, because I just feel more comfortable saying that, you know, because there are some guys that specifically like older women, you know, they're usually called cubs. Cougar and a cub. That's what they are in sexual terms. So I say I'm looking for my asexual cub, you know. So there are specific younger guys that are just really attracted to older women. They don't really date people usually very much of their own age, and if they do, they usually find that it doesn't work out. They haven't got that same interest, that the younger girl hasn't got the qualities that they're looking for. They end up more being friend zoned by that person, and you know, they can't give them the level of relationship satisfaction that they would get from an older one because they're specifically like older. Do you know what I mean? So there's someone for everyone, you know. And one of the sexual dating groups I'm in on Facebook, a lot of those guys do actually like older women. They specifically go for women that are older than them. One's likes women that are at least 11 years older than him. So it is very popular, you know. But I think there's more, there seems to be more sexual guys interested in older women than does asexual guys sometimes. But I mean, I do get a lot of asexual younger guys, but they tend to be like just wanting friendship, or they're in another country predominantly, because I like foreign guys, so I guess it's pretty obvious that's going to happen. But yeah, so please like take time to get used to your own asexuality. And you know, I think I've still got like, you know, like some more discovery. I know what I am, but I think because I've got some sexual behavior with the way I like to kiss, and I've got some like erogenous stuff going on with the guy's upper body, it kind of like, I don't really explore the erogenous side that much of me because it scares me in some ways. It's like, yeah, because I don't want it to get too sexual, you know, because then it just makes me feel uncomfortable. So I think, you know, like maybe that's a kind of like more exploration side to me that I need to do, maybe. But it's a bit scary at the same time. But I like keeping my clothes on. I'm not interested in the naked body. I don't think it's, you know, I don't mind a guy's chest naked if it's a nice chest with hair. Less hair the better. No hair preferably. Foreign guy particularly. But you know, I kind of think I haven't fully gone into that side of me, but it kind of scares me a bit because it's sexual and behavior more. I get a bit scared that it's too sexual for me. It's like your own behavior is too sexual for you, Sandra. I'm like, could be, yeah, it could be a problem. So I think that's kind of weird when you're kind of battling with yourself a little bit to be comfortable with everything about who you are. So I think you have to just like take your time with that and work out, you know, like how you really feel, how you really think, and what's actually you and what's actually other people, or what's actually you and what you think you should be. Because just because you think you should be a certain way doesn't mean to say you actually are, you know. So I'm definitely asexual though. Just don't experience sexual attraction. I keep testing myself sometimes. I'm like, oh, if I kiss like these foreign guys, I'm like, no, you don't even really get aroused that much anymore. Not in clubs anyway. I'm like, oh, what's happening with that? Do you know what I mean? Because I used to get aroused just through kissing, but when I'm kissing guys in clubs, I don't really get aroused. I think it's because of the club environment, but it didn't used to stop me before, I don't think. So I don't know what's gone on there, but it's quite good, really. I don't really want to feel aroused in the middle of a club. It's kind of just too annoying else, and it's too much. So that feels quite good. I think that's kind of like, it's kind of strange, but it's kind of good at the same time. So I just, you know, want to encourage you to be yourself, to explore your asexuality, all the different nuances of things you like, don't like, you know, whether it's touching that you do like or you don't like, where it's kissing you do or don't like, where it's cuddling you do or don't like, you know, how long you want it for, all that type of thing. Explore what's important to you in a relationship. If you're looking to get into a relationship with another person, you know, what type of things are really important to you. You know, like for me, I would have to have someone who was very supportive of my career, very supportive of my career, and very supportive of the work I do for asexuals. You know, it's a big part of my life. It's like the most prolific part of my life, you know, like writing and asexuality is just like my daily life, basically. especially at the moment. So, you know, a guy's got to be very comfortable with that and very happy to support me, you know. And I'm not a girl that's into housework, you know. I've gone in one of, like I said, I'm in some sexual dating groups on Facebook, and you know, there's some guys there, and it's like, what qualities do you look for in a woman? And it's like, oh, I look for her to do the housework, you know, or what would you like the woman to do for you after a hard day's work, and that's non-sexual, you know. It's all about housework. I'd like my meal to be cooked free. I'd like her to do like all the housework. I'm like, really? I don't want that type of life. That's the type of life that's normal. It's not me. I'm not interested. You know, I'd rather stay single forever. So, you know, work out what type of relationship you want and what makes you happy, not what society dictates to you, and not what your own sexuality would usually make you think you have to be, you know, because there's a lot of stereotypes even within the asexual community. So it's important to like come to terms with yourself and love yourself. This is something I still need to. I do love myself, don't get me wrong, but I still need to come to terms with every bit of my asexuality, including the kind of weird stuff that doesn't make sense. They're kind of like, you don't experience any sexual attraction yet you've got sexual behaviour. What's going on with that? But I guess it's quite exciting, adds flavour to life. And I know everything's happens for a reason. So I guess some way down the line, if I am meant to be in a relationship, it'll be with a guy who kind of loves all the kissing and stuff that I like to do. That he's like, oh wow, I love this, you know, because I'm like a hyper kisser. That's what I worked out. Besides being a hyper romantic, I'm a hyper kisser, like someone who likes to kiss for hours, you know. Because I've got a friend who's not asexual. They originally were in an asexual group, actually. They're still in one of my groups, I think. Well, I say they're not asexual, I think they're demisexual, so they fall on the asexual spectrum. But they're actually a hypersexual. So I'm not sure if they found out they weren't demisexual at all, or if they were demisexual then became a hypersexual. But anyway, they're not in one of my dating groups. They're in another group, and so, you know, they have, you know, they're married now, and you know, they're trans, and they're just amazing person, but they're hypersexual, and they used to tell me about the stuff, and they used to like have, you know, can have sex for like 3 hours. That's a hypersexual. I'm definitely not a hypersexual, but I'm a hyper romantic. Because one person on YouTube a long time ago, they said hyper romantic, that's disgusting, because you're asexual. It's like, I'm not hypersexual, I'm hyper romantic, meaning excessively romantic. But I'm also a hyper kisser, because I can kiss for like 3 hours and it's good for me. You know, it's like a full body workout and it's fun, you know. But that's not like the norm for most asexuals, do you know what I mean? So I think we all have our own nuances, and it's important to just love ourselves for who we are. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream there, and I want to thank you once again for all your contributions. Thank you so much, Megan, for being in chat tonight. I really appreciate you. Thanks for over 700 subscribers. I'm really happy about that. Please share my channel with anyone you think may want to join the community here. Don't forget to subscribe yourself if you haven't already, and hit that great big bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live. Like now, I'll post a new video. Lots of love, Megan, and lots of love to everyone else who's been watching. Thanks for the thumbs up. And if you like this video and haven't yet given it a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up. Megan, hope your voice gets better, and congratulations to you. Thanks, Megan. Yeah, my voice is a little bit croaky tonight because I've been like video recording for 3 hours non-stop. So it's kind of like, thanks very much. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.